morning, I'm Maricar Bautista sitting in for Mikey Oreta, and you're watching Business 360, where we break down the numbers, connect the dots, and give you the developments and insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead. Let's dive right in. The headlines: Canada and Mexico impose retaliatory tariffs against American products. The Bureau of Internal Revenue warns tax reform measures may be delayed by the upcoming midterm elections. The Philippine Egg Board Association assures the public of ample egg supply despite a projected shortage by the Agriculture Department. First, let's take a look at how financial markets performed overnight. U.S. stocks ended lower on Friday, with indices losing ground after the White House said U.S. President Donald Trump will implement tariffs of 25% on Canadian and Mexican imports and 10% on Chinese goods. Investors have been bracing for further tariff news after Trump repeatedly warned about using the measure. Uncertainty over the impact of tariffs has muddled the outlook for the economy and inflation.
I think what we're seeing all this week and today as well is just, investors continuing to kind of digest, all this data as it relates to, new information about AI and that path forward. And then let's also not forget we had a Fed meeting this week too. So there's, not a lot of news today necessarily. I think it's just the culmination of investors kind of, like I said, digesting everything we've seen so far this week.
The S&P 500 lost 0.5%, while the Nasdaq Composite was down 0.28%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.75%. Over in Europe, markets are up. The UK's FTSE 100 up by 0.31%. Germany's DAX also up by 0.02%, while France's CAC 40 gained 0.1%. Canada will retaliate against President Donald Trump's new tariffs with 25% levies on U.S. imports. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warned Americans that Trump's actions would have real consequences for them. Trudeau said he was slapping tariffs on $107 billion worth of American goods to take effect on Tuesday. His announcement came just hours after Trump ordered 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports and 10% on goods from China. The move could trigger a trade war that economists say could slow global growth and reignite inflation.
Like the American tariffs, our response will also be far-reaching and include everyday items such as American beer, wine, and bourbon, fruits and fruit juices, including orange juice, along with vegetables, perfume, clothing, and shoes. It'll include major consumer products like household appliances, furniture, and sports equipment, and materials like lumber and plastics, along with much, much more.
Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum also warns Trump's tariffs on her country's products could backfire. The Mexican leader ordered retaliatory tariffs in response to the U.S. decision to slap 25% tariffs on all goods coming from Mexico. Sheinbaum said her government has sought dialogue rather than confrontation with its top trade partner. She also rejected as slander the White House's allegation that drug cartels have an alliance with the Mexican government, a point being used by the Trump administration to justify the tariffs. Japan expresses concern on the impact of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs targeting Canada, Mexico, and China on the global economy. Japanese Finance Minister Katsunobu Kato says they need to scrutinize the policies and their effects to take approximate measures. Trump previously vowed to slap 25% tariff to Canadian and Mexican exports by Tuesday, and additional 10% tariffs to Chinese goods. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP plans to cut the interest rate by 50 basis points this year after the release of weaker than expected economic data. Sujin Kim has more.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is studying the possibility of loosening monetary policy following the latest GDP growth figures. While GDP is a crucial indicator, BSP Governor Eli Remolona Jr. stresses that it must be assessed alongside other economic factors before any policy decision.
It's one of the data points that, especially important data point, but it's a matter of checking whether the number, the GDP number, puts us in. We look at it relative to what we call the output gap. Is it wide? Because right now we have a kind of a negative output gap. We're growing at a little bit below capacity, and whether that number widens that gap between our capacity and where how much we're really growing.
If the output gap expands further, widening the distance between the economy's capacity and actual growth, the BSP may have to adopt a more accommodative monetary policy.
Well, the principle is we measure our capacity, and that will give us a number, and that's a very complicated thing. And then where are we relative to that capacity? Are we at capacity? Then that's the ideal thing, or are we above capacity? Then that tends to be inflationary. If we're below capacity, then that tends to be disinflationary.
But the output gap is just one factor. The BSP will also consider the latest inflation data set for release on Wednesday before deciding on its next move. For now, the possibility of interest rate cuts up to 50 basis points throughout the year remains on the table.
75 might be too much. Baka 50 kasi kailangan din natin ng konting policy insurance. Hindi not every meeting will see a policy rate decline.
Governor Remolona also expressed hope that the reserve requirement ratio could be lowered to 5%, a 200 basis point reduction. Sujin Kim, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
All 14 Bilyonarios on Forbes' list lost a combined total of $3.4 billion from their fortunes after a steep sell-off in the Philippine Stock Exchange Index last Friday. The biggest loser is the C family after their fortune inched down by 11% to $11.1 billion. SM Investments fell by 13%, while SM Prime slid 8% year-to-date. Stock market, or rather, another major casualty was property and spirits billionaire Andrew Tan, who saw his wealth drop 17% to $1.5 billion. Meanwhile, Jollibee founder Tony Tan Caktiong took the biggest hit proportionally, dropping to the bottom of the ultra-billionaire list after shedding 15% to $1.1 billion. Last Friday, the PSE index plunged by 4% to close at 5862. The upcoming midterm elections may delay the passage of tax reform measures of the Internal Revenue Bureau that could help reach its 3.2 trillion peso collection target in 2025. Internal Revenue Commissioner Romeo Lumagi Jr. explains this is driven by uncertainties due to the upcoming polls. Aside from the passage of tax measures, BIR expects the withholding tax of online transactions to increase tax collection in 2025. The Philippine Egg Board Association, or PEBA, assures the public there's no egg shortage for the year. This is after Agriculture Secretary Francisco Q. Laurel Jr. forecast a shortage of eggs by April after farm gate prices inched down to 4 pesos per piece due to overproduction in 2024. This prompted producers to slaughter their chickens to offset losses. Q. Laurel said the best way for government to help the poultry industry would be to facilitate and fast-track the importation of new layers. But PEBA President Francis Uyehara explains even though producers incurred losses last summer, there will be an oversupply of eggs in 2025 after they started to repopulate due to the price increase from June to September. As we continue to dive deep into the issue of egg supply, we're joined by Francis Uyehara, President of Philippine Egg Board Association. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Maricar, and also to all our listeners for today.
Yes, sir. The Agriculture Department projected an egg shortage by April. Do you agree, sir? Why or why not?
Well, first, we do not want to contradict what the Department of Agriculture is saying, but for our organization, we have projected an increase of supply of eggs this year compared to last year. The news stated regarding the farmers stopping or limiting their birds last year, we already have started repopulating our flock in preparation for the December last year. So the prices of eggs right now is already down by 1 peso, more than 1 peso from the prices from last December.
Okay, sir. Sir, you said egg producers started to repopulate their farms after price hike from June to September. Do you have enough time to produce enough eggs?
Yes, because last December, as you can remember, the price already stabilized. It went up, but not too high. We were able to stabilize the prices of eggs during December. And right after New Year, prices started to go down already until now. So it's a sign of that the supply of eggs are stable right now and enough for the current demand.
Okay, sir. So what is your forecast for egg prices this year? Is it going to increase?
Well, the prices of eggs are volatile. The major factor to consider right now is the erratic fluctuation of demand. But as far as the supply is concerned, we have more than enough. We have the needed birds for this year until December. So we're not expecting a shortage of supply in eggs this year, unless there will be multiple outbreaks of AI, which we do not want. So that's the only reason why there will be a possible shortage in eggs locally.
Okay, sir. I was just about to ask you, sir. You mentioned that the country's egg supply may be affected on the potential local outbreak of avian influenza. How prepared is the industry to handle a potential bird flu crisis? And are you also one with them in pushing for the bird flu vaccine?
Well, right now, we do not have the necessary measures to address AI locally because the commercial vaccine is not yet approved and it's not yet finished with the licensing due to the delayed process in our government, specifically BAI and FDA. We've been processing these commercial vaccines for more than 2 years already. And until now, we do not have, it's not yet done. We do not have, it's not yet available. It's not yet finished, the licensing. We're not yet done with the local trials. While these vaccines are already licensed and approved and being used in other countries, here locally, it's being delayed. It's we are encountering so many unnecessary delays, and that is what we're saying with the government. If we want to address food security and this AI problem, the long-term solution is the availability of the commercial AI vaccine.
So what seems to be causing the delay? Where is it coming from?
Well, if you ask FDA will tell you that it's not yet on our agency. It's it's still with BAI protocols. If you ask BAI, they will tell you that the applicants are having problems. They are taking they're the ones causing the delays. If you talk to the 3 existing applicants, they will explain it to you that there are so many misunderstanding with the government. There are so many things they are asking them to pay that should not be. Unnecessary delays, petty delays, so many things all throughout the process. These existing applicants are multinational companies, vaccine companies, and they already have so many products, licensed products here. And honestly, we cannot pinpoint exactly what's causing the delay because there's so many reasons, so many petty small things. And there was a time when the FDA and BAI were arguing which one of them is supposed or legally responsible for facilitating the licensing of these vaccines.
Okay, thank you for taking time with us, Mr. Uyehara.
Thank you very much.
We're taking a quick break. Stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers and narratives that matter most to your bottom line.
Nagbabalik ang Usapang Bilyonaryo. We kick off Season 3 with an exclusive.
This is your first on-cam interview?
It is. I've been in Aboitiz Power for 15 years now. I rose through the ranks.
Danel Aboitiz, President and CEO of Aboitiz Power, is now at the helm, steering the company's growth and shaping the future of energy in the Philippines.
When did it start to turn a profit? I mean, of course, in the beginning.
Immediately, actually.
Oh,
I
really?
must say. It was a profitable business with an inherently low operating cost.
Get a rare inside look at the mind of a true billionaire. The vision, the passion, the drive. Usapang Bilyonaryo, where ambition and success meet. Don't miss the pilot episode, Mondays, 8:30 p.m., only on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Here at home, trading at the Philippine Stock Exchange opened earlier. Let's look at the initial figures. The main index is trading at 59.67 from Thursday's close of 58.62. All sub-indices are in the green, led by industrial at 3%. Gainers currently outpace losers 82 to 58. Unchanged issues currently at 28. Value turnover is at 2.1 billion. Meanwhile, at the foreign exchange market, the peso opens weaker at 58.44 against the dollar, compared to its previous close of 58.365. The Philippine automotive industry is expected to sell more than 500,000 cars in 2025. This is according to Toyota Motor Philippines Corporation, or TMP. TMP Chairman Alfred T. explains this is amid more promising macroeconomic outlook. He says the gross domestic product, or GDP growth, will surpass 6% in 2025. T adds the financial sector remains good due to the continuous rise of consumer loans. Julia Flory Monzon Poe, the daughter of Bilyonaryo aviation king Archie Poe, dies after the helicopter she was piloting crashed in Nueva Ecija last Saturday. She was flying back to Manila after dropping off Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa in Baguio City when her Robinson R-44 light helicopter went down in a swamp in Barangay San Miguel, Guimba. Initial investigations show Poe struggled for 2 hours with engine issues before taking off from Binalonan, Pangasinan. Her body is currently at Heritage Memorial Park in Taguig. She was 25. Local residents in Panama City took to the streets to protest the visit of U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. This is amid President Donald Trump's threat to take control of the Panama Canal, claiming it is being operated by China. China already denied the allegation, saying it respects Panama's sovereignty and independence over the waterway. The U.S. and Panama made progress on key migration and business issues during Rubio's visit, but they failed to find common ground over the Panama Canal's operations. Trump has refused to rule out use of military force over Panama, drawing criticism from Washington's Latin American allies. And that's it for Business 360. I'm Maricar Bautista. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.